Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
I can't tell you when's the last time I got so serious about something like this Slapshot remake discussion. And we've had some really good ones coming in here. Jeff in Winnipeg, Camilla says the Baldwin brothers for the Hansons. Wayne in Victoria agrees with my Zach Galifianakis as Denis Lemieux. Denis Lemieux, continuons sa saison. Who would be Dickie Dunn? I feel like Elliot Friedman should play Dickie Dunn. But I think that Billy Bob Thornton is a slam dunk as Reg Dunlop, because this is a very, very important role. This would be the role that might define Billy Bob Thornton's career.
It's the role.
It's the role. And I will go along with Billy Bob Thornton as Reg Dunlop. That's how big of a fan I am of his.
How about that?
And of Reg Dunlop's, and nobody has come close to anybody else.
Somebody mentioned Steve Carell. Steve Carell maybe is Jim Carr.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
He could be Jim Carr. That works for me.
No. The guy whose idea this was in the first place, Robin Wildy, he's watching in PA. He says Liam Neeson as Joe McGrath. Liam Neeson's way too cool to play Joe McGrath. Way too cool.
Somebody mentioned.
Hey! John in Winnipeg. John Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
As Joe McGrath.
Yeah. Slam dunk.
Perfect.
Oh, how about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy.
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. Remember that night that I yelled in the bubble
At Bob.
"Great call, Bobby!" I yelled it at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. Happy Monday. Welcome to your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming at you live on Game Plus TV. WQEE Radio, Noonan, Georgia, just outside Atlanta. Yes, Ryan O Radio's written in. Another great Monday, isn't it? We survived the weekend, and that's not just whistling Dixie. I'm going to tell you, barely did. Coming up on the program today, McLeod Bethel-Thompson, a guy that needs no introduction, but we'll introduce him a little later on when he does come on. I think he's in Atlanta right now. Grey Cup champion quarterback, former NFL'er, now going to play in the United States Football League. And Mike Richards, the ageless and peerless Mike Richards, will be with us in hour two. Darren Moose DuPont joins us. He is back from the Canada Winter Games in PEI. You fixed your hair, Moose. I like it. Just before we came on, listen, before I get into my wild weekend and how I almost died, how about yours? You made it back safely from PEI, so that's the good news today.
That is the good news. It was touch and go there for a second. We were on a chartered flight out after the closing ceremonies last night. I don't think I told you this. There was an impending storm coming in, and anybody who was staying over till today, flying commercial through Toronto and Quebec and things like that, were getting their flights canceled, in advance. And as we were walking out to the tarmac, you've done a lot of these charters with the teams you've been with, it was blowing so much that my carry-on bag was blowing across the tarmac, and I was walking beside it. It was shaking the plane. I'm like, this is going to be the most turbulent flight I've ever been on in my life. We might not get off the ground. The flight couldn't have been smoother. So it was awesome. We had a hot meal on the plane. First time I've had a hot meal on an airplane in a decade, and we're back safe and sound.
Glad to hear it. Good morning, by the way, Kevin the Medium. Jeff Gordon's watching. Zoom. Trevor Red Ranger in Winnipeg. We got a lot going on. Ted in Red Deer. Yeah. Well, might be a good poll question. We already have a great poll question, but a secondary poll question might be, whose weekend was wilder? Can you hit the quick six show horn, please, Director Jordan?
Hell yes.
We got 40 minutes with Moose before McLeod Bethel-Thompson joins us. So here's mine. We're on a boat about 20 miles, I'd say, off the coast of the Florida Keys out into the Atlantic Ocean. We're going snorkeling. And I've been snorkeling before. I don't know what happened, what hit me. But Serena jumped into the water. She's good. I jump into the water, panic attack immediately. Brain freezes, can't breathe. Not really flailing around per se, but just had a panic attack. And here's the importance of staying calm. The young guy, Brandon, he's standing on the end of the boat. He's like, it's all right. This happens all the time. Throws the buoy out like a football. He's got a rope on. He's like, just grab on. We'll pull you in. He's very good. And I jumped in, put on a life jacket. But I'd never had the web on my feet before. I got the thing jammed in my mouth. I had a panic attack. And the wild thing is we learned today that the next crew that went out after ours, a guy wasn't so lucky. He went into distress in the water, and he didn't make it back alive. So, yeah, pretty happy that way. Somehow or another, I'm always flirting with disaster. And on Sunday, we had a boat capsize in the Gulf of Mexico this time. So what the hell? What a great weekend. How was your week? That's a pretty good start. So let's jump into NHL weekend leftovers. Enough of our stories. Can you hit the horn again, please, Director Jordan, just to make sure? Hey, that'll work.
Hell yes.
Enough Mickey Mousen. Let's get down to it. Oh, the haters are out. Are we going to... John Massey, the guy has showed up to hate on Connor Bedard. Just hang on. That's like my 0.6B, where the haters are just waiting to jump on Connor Bedard. And if I may, can I just say this? I didn't know why when Connor Bedard got that WHL exceptional player exemption status, and he came on our program as a 14-year-old, and I felt sorry for him. I don't really know why I felt sorry for him, but now, a couple years later, I do know why. Almost 3 years later, I do know why. Because of haters. He was -5 in the game on Sunday. It's like, he's not perfect. And now there's a video circulating. People are trying to call him racist. I'm like, I didn't know why I felt sorry for him, but now I know why. So he's going to make millions and millions and millions in the NHL. There's no doubt that's the good side. But on the bad side, the haters and the people that are just substandard in life and have never achieved anything, they're going to come after him. So he's going to have to learn to deal with that. So, weekend NHL leftovers. I don't know where to start, Moose. Hang on. Let me pull up I got a couple games here that I wanted to point out. Joel Eriksson-Ek, Marcus Foligno, and Matt Boldy scored the goals. Philip Gustafsson stopped 31 saves for the Shutty. And the visiting Minnesota Wild beat the Calgary Flames 3-0. Flames have dropped 5 in a row. Watch this one in the Florida Keys. Josh Morrissey scored 2 goals and added a helper as the Winnipeg Jets defeated the visiting Edmonton Oilers 7-5. That was just bonkers Saturday night. At 4-4, I went to sleep. It ended up 7-5 for the Jets. Neon Leon scored a hattie for the Oilers, who had beaten the Jets Friday night 6-3. That's the Flames, Oilers, Jets thing, the NHL Bermuda Triangle. How about the Leafs, who can't win despite all these trades? What do you have to say about that, Gevna?
I know. It's okay. It's concerning, you know, when you can't go in and beat Vancouver, but you got to need some time. You mentioned it's a lot of trades, maybe too many trades for the Leafs around the deadline. It's a new locker room. You got to learn the systems. You got to learn how do you play with these teammates. It's going to take some time. Still no excuse. I mean, you need to be winning games down the stretch. They don't need the points, but more concerning is the injuries in Toronto, like Ryan O'Reilly's finger and how serious things like that are. But tough weekend.
For the Leafs, how do you lose to Vancouver? So, John Massey, my frenemy, he's an Oilers fan. He says, I'm not a hater, just pointing out that stat line. Yeah, that's what all the haters say. Yeah. You fit right in that category. So the poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is, Who's going to represent the Western Conference in the Stanley Cup Final? And to be honest, we agonized on this one a little bit, and I'm not sure we even came up with the right three. Right, Clark? But what did we say? We said Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, or other. Oh. So what is it on YouTube? Okay. Dallas, Vegas, Colorado. Yeah. So it's the same on both Twitter and YouTube. And what I saw leading was other. The other is leading. They don't think it's going to be Dallas, Colorado, or Vegas. By the way, Vegas is going to be incidentally in here on Tuesday night. Hey, John Massey, stop talking to me. It's over. Not debating Connor Bedard with you all day. What was this, the John Massey show? Stop it. So anyways, Moose. Boy, it didn't take long for them to get me revved up after a nice weekend of unplugging. I want to go back to the Flames for a second, which incidentally, 1 week from today, will be live from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino, Calgary's entertainment destination. Did you see the playoff percentages? You probably didn't. Because
I did.
You did? You did? Okay, where the heck is
25%.
it? I can't even use my damn phone. Here it is. Thank you. For the Pacific Division, here are your percentages from whomever. I'm not sure I believe this necessarily, but this was posted today from the Hockey Analytics account. It says the Calgary Flames have a 25% chance of making the playoffs. 25%. I see our friend Salim Valji from TSN Calgary's just put on Twitter. He just said the Flames basically aren't going to make the playoffs. So what would you like to see over the next however many games? I don't want to talk about that. It's too depressing. They got Vegas and the LA Kings at Vegas 98% chance of making the playoffs. LA 95%. Oilers, Seattle 94%. Flames 25%. And then 0% chance of making the playoffs. Vancouver, San Jose, and Anaheim. I'm no mathematician, Moose, but they haven't all clinched. How can you say there's a 0% chance of them making the playoffs? There is that chance that they win every game, and those top team, one of them loses every game, or do you believe that there's zero chance? Nobody's clinched yet.
It's probably 0 point something. That's what I would probably say.
Yeah.
0 points. It can't be 0, 0, 0, 0. But I'm like, the Flames need to go the other way. Like, if the Flames had won 5 in a row instead of lost 5 in a row, they'd be ahead of the Edmonton Oilers and sit in a playoff spot. So it's, yeah, I would hate to be a Flames fan right now, and I'm really curious what that city is like. Because you were thinking Stanley Cup last year, you're thinking the team got even better this year, and the Stanley Cup is a real possibility, and now the playoffs are out of reach almost. That's very concerning, and I feel bad.
25% chance of making the playoffs. Jack Fulton, writing in from Alberta, says, Rod, I don't understand why there are Connor Bedard haters. Oh, wait. Yes, I do. Understand. Number 98 is the greatest young player in many years. Exceptional. Trevor in Winnipeg says, McDavid takes a bump, falls down, and Nurse has to fight. I'd be embarrassed if I was McDavid. What, you're saying McDavid should have fought the other night against Winnipeg? I would go kick Connor McDavid's ass if he dropped the gloves. We've had this debate before, Moose. So that's why I knew we're still on the first blinking point, for God's sakes, and we may stay on this point for a while. A lot of Oiler fans are bringing up my preseason prognostication that the Calgary Flames are the number 1 team in the NHL. And that was correct until they started playing games. And then it all changed. Moose, Oiler fans are baffled at what's happening in Calgary. They know they should be better. Bruce Dobigan writing at me today, the famous Bruce Dobigan, the Doughboy, saying it's baffling. And I would think you could count him as a Flames fan. We had this chat last week. What do you do if you're Brad Treliving, the general manager? Because he did everything right. And I don't want to necessarily have that debate here today. The other side, it's not Calgary Flames television, and God knows when we get to Calgary next week, we'll have a lot more of this. But my good friend Jeff Pedersen from Estevan. You know, Jeff, the hotel magnate, of the Energy City. He's written me today, and he says the last 20 games of the regular season are going to be playoffs. It's going to be wild. And for a lot of these teams, they're in the playoffs already. There's 4 teams tied for 9th in the Eastern Conference. One of those is the Florida Panthers. And here's the 4 teams with 68 points. Buffalo, Ottawa, Florida, Washington. By the way, Sabres and Oilers get after it tonight in Buffalo. It's on national television in both countries, Canada and the United States, on 2 separate channels. But let me back this up. It's been so long since we've been on the air together. You and I are on the air, period. By the way, next segment is going to be XFL, NFL Combine. The Blue Jays going to honor Jose Bautista, Breyer, and the Raptors. So it's all hockey here in the opening segment. But Friday night, I didn't even tell you, I'm in the press box at the FLA Live Arena. I saw, or maybe it was Thursday, I guess. Maybe we did talk about that. Randy Moeller, Billy Lindsay, who I saw everybody that I wanted to see. Let's put it that way. The guy that I talked with, those are all Florida Panthers broadcasters. Jeff Chikrin, the other one. But Randy goes, we need to go with 20 games left. We got to go 15-5. And you will meet Randy Moeller at some time. He's very matter of fact. And I'm like, okay, you would know better than me, Moles. And then they proceeded to soil themselves that night against the Nashville Predators, who, as one of the Sutters said to me the next day, they got nobody. Nashville's got nobody. And they look like the 85 Oilers against Florida on Thursday night. So now they're down to 19 games, and they got to go 15-4. And then they got Pittsburgh in there on Saturday, this past Saturday, 2 nights ago, and they manhandled the Pittsburgh Penguins in a must-win game. A little bit of a brouhaha broke out, a melee. There was 16,000 and change in the stands, and they beat the Pittsburgh Penguins in a must-win game 4-1. Absolutely wild. So now it's down to now they got to go 14-4 in their last 18. So the playoffs are on now. If your team is the Buffalo Sabres, Ottawa Senators, Florida Panthers, Washington Capitals, because somebody's going to be disappointed. So enjoy the hockey now. And on the Western side, it's playoff hockey now, really, for the Oilers, the Jets, the Predators, the Flames, and forget those that are counting the Flames out already and saying, what would you do? What do you want to see? Because not one team has clinched yet. Not even Boston's clinched yet, I don't think. Would we have not, Darren, have got a notification that the Boston Bruins clinched the playoff spot? Yeah, they haven't even clinched.
They got 20 games left. You got to think, there's teams that can bring out 40 points, right? Be pretty hard. They're getting close. They're down to the short strokes here to clinch, though. Boston will be clinching any day. But, yeah.
Right, but they haven't
what the
yet.
Flames
That's my point.
do. No, they haven't.
Well, we'll do that next week. We'll be right back. Roger, watching in Calgary, says, yeah, I think they need to win them all to get in, but they would probably lose out in the first round anyways. That's some positive thinking. We'll be right back. McLeod Bethel-Thompson and Mike Richards on the way. It's the RP Show. We are live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk. WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
And indeed, welcome back. McLeod Bethel-Thompson and Mike Richards coming up. If we bring the Moose back in, and before I truck on with the quick six, Moose, here are some messages from our viewers and listeners today. Jim in New Jersey. Jim Berenger writes in, he says, Rod, it just feels like the Flames won't make the playoffs. Just not getting it together consistently, especially in between the pipes. It's hard to get it all together with new players. Maybe next year is their year. Something got to change. Hashtag Flames. Well, feel about this however you want. What I'm saying is if you're a Flames fan and you want to be negative, go ahead. You're a Devils fan, Jim, for the love of Pete. Why do you even care? And two, in that dressing room, they can't feel this way. And listen, God knows I got enough friends within that organization, but I'm not even poking around what's going on. I don't want to know. But now 19 games left is still a long time to turn around. And from the text line 902-518-3033, Troy Koser writes in, Troy, morning, Roddy and Dupes, have a great show. Going for my last radiation treatment today. Still not missing the RP show. Signed, Troy Koser. Koser strong. You do it, Troy. We are all behind you. Lyle in Toronto is watching, and he says, the poll question answer is Seattle. Poll question for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is, which Western Conference team will be in the Stanley Cup final? Options, Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, or other. He's saying other. Seattle. And from Ricky Regina, you know him, Moose. You love him. Ricky Kazama. He writes in on the 902 text line. He says, Roddy, stay out of the water. Stick to rinks and stadiums. Yeah, not shocking at all, really, now that I think about it, that I jumped in the Atlantic Ocean and had a panic attack. But I'm here today to talk about it because I always survive. Moose, my guess is, I shouldn't speak for you, but I'm guessing you didn't watch any of XFL Week 3. I watched more XFL this week than I've ever watched, but that's still not a lot. Did you catch any of the games in Week 3 in the XFL?
I didn't. I'm going to make a point to watch in Week 4, but I'm seeing I'm seeing a little more of it, but I did not watch. So I'm looking forward to hearing your thought.
Well, I don't have a lot, but it's the players that people tune in for. And I guess, I don't know, was Josh Gordon there, Clark, from the start of the season? Everybody was tagging me in the big touchdown that he scored. Josh Gordon. He's there from start? Okay. Well, A.J. McCarron's in the league. We all know A.J. McCarron. Some would remember him more for his girlfriend, but the greatest Alabama quarterback of all time, which the Crimson Tide is my team. Based on championships, A.J. McCarron is the best Alabama quarterback of all time. I do have the scores here, and I know there's a lot of XL fans that have tuned in. Seattle beat Vegas 30-26. D.C. beat St. Louis 34-28. My Orlando Guardians still are winless. They lost 10-9 to Arlington, and Houston beat San Antonio 22-13. So I'm paying a little more attention. It was on the telly, right in front of my face. So that certainly helped. Darren, I stopped and watched it. I'm like, this ain't bad. I will say this: the quality of play from week 1 to week 3 has improved at least 100%, if not more. But I don't know. I mean, Corey Chamberlain's more a friend of mine, but I saw Cham put on social media a photo of this stadium. I think it was in Arlington, or is he with San Antonio? I don't know. I thought he was in the USFL. So, to be honest, I'm finding the USFL and the XFL kind of confusing. I almost feel like they should merge. How do you feel about these secondary leagues?
Yeah, I think I could see that happening. When you mentioned that, I'm thinking, this is back to the old AFL, NFL days, or the WHA and the NHL, and both trying to make it, who's going to survive, and eventually one's going to realize they're not, and maybe they'll join and, combine forces, and away we go. That might make the most sense. It all depends on what your goals are. If you're going to be a feeder system for the NFL and be supported by the NFL, and you don't need to be the most popular league, then that's okay. I mean, that's really what the American Hockey League is, right? The American Hockey League isn't sitting here banking on having big TV contracts and having the most fans in the building and all of those things. They're a feeder system. They're a farm team, a development program, right? So maybe that's what these leagues are. But if they need big TV deals like the XFL is trying to do and get butts in the seats, then you have to really be entertaining and push your players.
Listen, great point. I guess that's why we have you on, Moose. You're smart. These kids, the players, will always look at it as a stepping stone, a way to get noticed. For the coaches, our friends like Corey Chamberlain and the myriad of those. Corey, he doesn't need any introduction on this show, I don't think. Everybody who knows him, the football people know him. It's a job, and it's a good job. He loves to coach. But for the players, they want to get noticed, and they want to get to the National Football League. You bring up the American Hockey League, and I think about it a lot. I went to the Wranglers games in Calgary last fall. A lot of them. There was nobody there. And I understand it's their first season. I understand it. And Calgary is as big a hockey town as there is anywhere. But there was nobody there. I would be shocked if there was even 1,000. And let's be honest, ask your average Canadian if they could even name one player in the American Hockey League. Canadians don't even know this is going on. The top-level pro league below the NHL in Canada has several teams, and nobody even knows. That's what the XFL and the USFL are, period. So I guess what I'm saying is I like the more teams, more leagues, more jobs for my friends, and the opportunity for players to get noticed, but don't ever think that you're going to be the big time, because you're not. And moving on, point 3. They were talking this morning on the radio here in Miami about the NFL Combine. And a little about John Morant, by the way, which I'm not going to get into that. But here's the story, the Wire story, Moose, from the Canadian press. It appears Canadians Chase Brown and Sidy Sow raised eyebrows at the 23 NFL Combine. Brown, a running back in Illinois, and Sow, an offensive lineman at Eastern Michigan, were among 5 Canadians at the NFL Combine, which concluded Sunday in Indianapolis. The others were Brown's twin brother, Sidney, who's a defensive back in Illinois, Matthew Bergeron, offensive lineman in Syracuse, and Tavius Robinson, a defensive lineman from Mississippi. Draft analyst Chad Reuter listed Chase Brown and so on NFL.com Sunday morning as 6 players who impressed league officials at the Combine. Before the combine, Daniel Jeremiah of the NFL Network suggested Chase Brown would be selected between the 3rd and 5th rounds. He also expected Sau to be taken in the 5th round. So, between all of what we've talked about so far, NHL playoff races and McDavid, should he have fought, and the XFL playing, and I got the Blue Jays coming up, you tell me where or why I would take the time to tune into the NFL Combine unless you were an absolute football nerd and diehard.
No, you really wouldn't. It's tough because, again, we know who all the great players are coming out of the college football season. We have more film. We have more opportunity to watch them. The one thing that stood out to me from the Combine, though, and the reason why I think the Combine still has some value is the quarterback out of Florida that dazzled with the speeding 4.40 and the vertical jump breaking records and, showed off some skill. And he did this at like 6'4", 220. And that kind of puts him on the map as, whoa, wait a second. You got one of the greatest athletes of a quarterback in an era when you're talking about Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and these athletic quarterbacks having a lot of success, Jalen Hurts another. Maybe this is the guy you want to take off the board, and it kind of gets you excited when you're a mid-first round draft pick team. So, yeah, there's some intrigue there, but for the most part, watching hours and hours of coverage is not going to get you anywhere.
Well, again, it's something to do. Again, these guys here watched it because it's an NFL town. Atlanta's an NFL town. How about you people? You people listening in Atlanta on WQEE, were you watching the NFL Combine? Listen, there were years where I would sit back and watch it when I was only working in football, and more than anything, you've watched it when you didn't have anything else to do, like you're at the Canada Winter Games right now. But more than anything, I like to see the shots of Belichick in the crowd and Sean Payton in the crowd. And it was the show that they made out of it, not the underwear Olympics. John Ohm says, I couldn't find an XFL game on the TV. Well, yeah, I can't speak for Canada, which incidentally will be in Canada broadcasting beginning next Monday from the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. But here, football's up in your face. Up in your face. 24/7. And that's what I was frankly begging the CFL to do for the last 20 years, to be up in everybody's face. They didn't want to do that. Yeah. Here we are. So to point 4, the Toronto Blue Jays announced Sunday that they will be honoring franchise great Jose Bautista on the level of excellence this summer. The pregame ceremony will be held August 12th. Joey Bats became a household name in MLB, making 6 All-Star teams and winning 3 Silver Slugger awards during his 9+ seasons in Toronto. He is second to Joe Carter in home runs with the Jays and holds the single-season franchise record for homers with 54. He is a Blue Jays great. I would suggest almost to the degree of statue outside the Rogers Center worthy. You and I have both been to Rogers Center, not together, but you look up at that level of excellence. And for me, the guy that I see's name up there is, of course, Tom Cheek, one of my broadcast mentors. Dave Steeb, Robbie Alomar was. I think they took it down, did they not? Can we check on that? Alex at Game Plus? I mean, I could sit here, Alex, in the control room at Game Plus, has some thoughts on this, I'm sure. I could say, what's your greatest Jose Bautista memory? But that wouldn't be that hard. Everybody would have the same one, would they not? The bat flip.
They would. Pretty easy.
Or fighting
the other one is
Odor, the next game. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's where I was going, man. The Rudin and Odor, like with the punch and the whole, deal there. That would have been the second one. Yeah, he goes in for me. I mean, how do you not? That's like the most iconic moment in Blue Jays history post 1993, right? Post World Series or whatever. So, yeah, I think it's awesome.
Steven in North Dakota writes in. He says, greetings and hallucinations from sunny. That gets me every time. From sunny +8 Fahrenheit, Minot, North Dakota. Will Serena and Mike Richards soon be on the RP Show panel together? Rod, Serena, and Mike are truth tellers. I'm not sure the world's ready for that. From Metal Shingle Guy on the 902, he writes in and he says, the XFL looks better every week. Darnell Sankey looked like the tackling machine he is. Beer snakes and brawls in D.C. Love it. Streaming ESPN on TSN every game, John Ohm. So you can get it on your TSN app. There you go. I was not aware of that. The play is getting better. The crowds are getting bigger. You got to start somewhere. Let's not hate on it. 0.5 four-time champion Kevin Cooey remains undefeated heading into the fourth day of action at the Tim Hortons Briar in London, Ontario. Cooey's 3-0 Alberta rink is playing Reed Carruthers' 2-1 wildcard crew out of Morris, Manitoba. Defending champion Brad Gushu of St. John's, Newfoundland meets Quebec's Felix Azalin in the afternoon draw. Here's this. I put a little curling in my weekend sports column at rodpeterson.com, and the curling fans write in and say they want more. Why didn't you have this? Why didn't you have that? Why did I do it in the first place? It has not changed for 30 years. My old boss at the radio station, Jeff Currier, said the more curling you put in your sportscast, the more curling fans want, so don't even start. It hasn't changed. 30 years, still going. And 0.6, the Toronto Raptors head to Denver tonight, taking on the Western Conference leading Nuggets in NBA play. It's the third of a 5-game roadie. Toronto coming off a 116-109 overtime win against the Washington Wizards on Saturday. Raptors 7-3 in their last 10. Actually, the Atlanta Hawks are here in Miami tonight. But no, I won't be going. Moose, I'll see you in hour 2.
See you then.
All right, the great McLeod Bethel-Thompson joins us next, and I can't wait. One of the biggest names in the Canadian Football League the past couple of seasons, gone stateside. We're going to talk to him about that. When we return, we're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and on your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Peterson Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven. And I'm Connor Bedard. We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Nestled in the scenic Qu'Appelle Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm going to jump right into this guy's bio before we bring him on. McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Everybody in football knows his name. Two-time Grey Cup champion with Toronto. He was the CFL's passing leader last season, led the CFL in passing touchdowns in 2019, but also played in the NFL with 49ers, Dolphins twice, Vikings, 49ers again, Patriots, Vikings again, 49ers again, Eagles, and then in Winnipeg in 2016, and then found a home with the Toronto Argonauts for 6 seasons, and as I mentioned, won 2 Grey Cups, and then kind of shocked everybody by announcing he's signing with the New Orleans Breakers in the United States Football League, and that's where we will pick up with him today in the off-season. Daddy daycare at home. McLeod, welcome back to the RP Show. How you doing, sir?
Doing great, doing great. We're currently at gymnastics right now, so if you hear a scream or if I got to run off to go pick up my daughter from the balance beam, it would just be a moment and I'll be right back.
I won't keep you too long. Please tell me what your life is like right now in this off season, as much as you can. You're a busy guy.
It's great. It's great spending as much time with my partner and my daughter, and we're moving around like crazy. We have a house in Los Angeles, but it's actually about 3 months over a remodel, 3 months over budget, and $50,000 over budget. So we're a little bit moving around. We're currently in the Bay Area with some grandparents, spending some quality time with family, training where I can and here and there, and then getting ready to go off for the next adventure. So really just soaking up family time and enjoying every day with the family as much as possible.
Good for you, man, and you look refreshed and you're enjoying it. And I don't know if you remember, you took a photo of me, James Franklin, and Ricky Ray in my pizza restaurant when the Argos were through in Regina on a road trip some years ago. So I know that you're a good guy, and I jokingly said that you're the Aaron Rodgers of the CFL, waiting to make this announcement of your future this past offseason. You beat Aaron, but what was it, an agonizing decision for you to go to the USFL?
Absolutely. And I had to take a long time to consider, and I informed the team a long time before I informed anyone else. So I didn't want to leave them hanging. I'm so grateful for the Toronto Argonauts for my time there, 5 years there. So, and then once I had everything lined up here down in the States, then I had to make the decision here. But it was tough. I worked so hard 5 years in Toronto, and I felt like I had to scratch and claw to be handed the keys. And being on the journey in that 2017 Grey Cup team and seeing Ricky Ray handle that, I knew I could build that type of team. I knew I could build a championship identity and build that in the locker room. And it finally was given the keys in this last year in 2022. And it felt so good to be amongst those amazing group of men and just help them and have them help me along that journey and go win a championship. So it was so rewarding to feel like I'm not a crazy person. Like I knew I could build this thing, and I finally got the keys and I brought a championship home to the Argos, who I love so very much, and hopefully I've left them in a better place than I found them.
Yeah, so on one hand, you went through so much there together with your guys, but on the other, you kind of climbed the mountain, so what's left? I mean, what tipped the scales for you to head to the USFL then? What made this the most attractive thing for the next step of your career?
I'll say two things. The first thing is family. My wife has a huge career ahead of her in film and television, so we're kind of transforming into supporting her more and being close to my daughter. There's a lot of things that line up, being in the Birmingham hub in the USFL in terms of lack of travel, close to Atlanta, which is a film town. So the family is the first part of that question. And then the second part of that is, I'll tell you a quick story. There's a certain member of the CFL media, when I told them I felt like I could still play in the NFL and I could start in the NFL, he scoffed and almost like, oh, you got to go where you want it. There's no chance. And that's kind of, something that digs at me. And if you're going to tell me something's impossible, I'm going to go chase it. There's no reason. If I throw with guys in the NFL in the offseason, I know I can throw with them. I know I can play at that level. And so it's a shot and an opportunity. Why not? I got a couple more years left at least of playing, and why not open up that door and chase the impossible if you're going to choose this thing? So first and foremost, it was a family decision, and second of all, it's why not? Let me go, test the waters down here and spend some time with family and do the two things in my life that I love the most simultaneously.
Well, you know what? I applaud the decision. Good for you, by the way, for going against the grain. But also, it doesn't say that you played in the spring league here, but I watched you do it. I mean, how much of this is you just love the game? You're going to play for as long as you can.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm so fortunate. And if you go back to my early part of my career, in my 6 years in the NFL, didn't play a lot, just practice a lot. Even if you go back to my college days, I got injured twice and lost a lot of game time. So I feel like I'm still making up game time this late in my career. So I just love the game of football. And when DiFilippo, who's the head coach with the New Orleans Breakers, reached out to me, he was my quarterback's coach when I was with the Eagles. He said, hey, is it crazy enough that you could come down here and play? And I said, absolutely, because I know he's going to push my game and make me a better quarterback. So I still haven't feel like I've played my best football. We won a lot of games last year, but I wasn't playing at the level that I want to be playing at. And I'm still chasing that perfect game. I'm still chasing my best, which is exciting. So at the end of the day, I just want to play football as long as possible and soak up family time at the same time.
Well, again, I applaud it that you can do both. And two last questions. One is more of a comment. Ryan's watching in Saratoga, New York. He says that beard is glorious. What's the deal? What's the deal, McLeod?
Why not? Tap in with it, embrace who you are. So it's on the loose. This is still, it's been trimmed once or twice since the Grey Cup, but this still has some Grey Cup confetti in it. I think it's stuck down in the inside of it. So I'm going to keep it rolling and making it part of my image, whatever. So we'll see. It's fun. It's easy. It's easier than shaving every day. So I'm letting it rock.
Well, I tell you what, Milt Stiegel, whom you would know, CFL on TSN, said it's a shame that a helmet had to cover his face because he's so beautiful. I've seen your modeling photos. I'm just saying that beard's covering up. When God gives you a face like that, I wouldn't be covering it up. You know what? But that's you. That's you. And I'll just say this, Chad Kelly. And hey, listen, father of three here. I'm not coming on to you or anything. And let me just say this. Chad Kelly, are the Argos in good hands there?
I'm excited to watch. I'm going to be cheering as much as anybody this season, and I love so many people in that locker room. I'm going to be cheering my butt off. So I think it's a CFL transition. It's no joke. He loves the game of football. He's a football junkie. He loves watching film. He loves doing all the process. But it's a hard transition to make. I know he's going to put the work in. And it's about, gelling at the right time and finding the different timings and the different spacings. It's one of the hardest transitions in sports, and all people think and give it credit or give it due to be so trained for a specific game and then have to relearn so many of the things that you do in that game while playing the same game. It's as different as you can get playing the same sport. So it's not an easy transition. I will be rooting my butt off for them, and I'm here for him if he ever needs to reach out and all that type of stuff. I've told him that many times. So I'm excited. I will be cheering my butt off. I hope the Argos win a whole bunch of games, and I'll be watching every single one of them.
Outstanding, the way it should be. McLeod, that's the end of our time. I appreciate you making time for us. I applaud your journey, all your success so far. It's been a lot of fun watching you. I'm glad we still can. We'll let you get back to class. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you.
McLeod Bethel-Thompson of the New Orleans Breakers. We'll be right back with a sports update and a viewer takeover. Mike Richards coming up in hour 2. We're live on Game Plus TV with the RP Show, iHeartRadio, YouTube Live, and WQEE.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Easy snacking all around. Something everyone can love.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Hi, my name's Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
All right, welcome back, everybody. What a great day. I just love that McLeod Bethel-Thompson. Maybe too much. But Mac Carr writes in, one of the listeners, he says, that opening McLeod Bethel-Thompson comment was low-key hilarious. I'm like 2 minutes behind. Was it the one about watching his kid at gymnastics? What a dude, man. He is the light. How about this one from Larry Sweet watching in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina? He says, Rod, tell Mac that Sweeter's dad said good luck in the USFL with Flip and New Orleans. And I apologize. Can we text that to Macbeth Clark? Sweeter's dad This is Chris Sweet, the offensive line coach of the Toronto Argonauts, okay? I'm just bringing it all together here. Larry, he says, Sweeter's dad here. The XFL offensive line needs work. Can't run block. Well, can you agree, Larry, that it's gotten better from week 1 to week 3? Because week 1, it was hella atrocious. Let me do a sports update, then I'll turn it back over to you people. Sports update. Toronto Blue Jays have the day off from spring training action. Toronto handed the Philadelphia Phillies a 16-4 loss Sunday in Dunedin. The Jays next take on the Pittsburgh Pirates tomorrow in Bradenton, Florida. How about this one? I've been at that park in Bradenton, Florida. I went to a 12-step meeting right across the street. Beautiful facility there in Bradenton, Florida. The Atlanta Braves are off today as well. From the dub, Trevor Wong scored 3 goals and added a helper as the visiting Saskatoon Blades kept Connor Bedard off the score sheet and defeated the Pats 5-2. It snapped the Pats' 6-game win streak, and everybody's come out of the woodwork. Not everybody, but the Bedard critics to say that Connor was -5 in the game. In Calgary, Carter Yakimchuk scored the game-winning goal at 9:13 of the third period as the Calgary Hitmen edged the visiting Swift-Current Broncos. In Seattle, Dylan Genther scored a goal and added an assist as the Seattle Thunderbirds edged the visiting Tri-City Americans 4-2. And in Portland, Gabe Klassen scored a goal and added an assist as the Portland Winterhawks edged the visiting Everett Silvertips 2-1. This sports update for 80 for Brady in theaters now. It's inspired by the true story of 4 besties living life to the fullest when they decide to take a wild trip to the 2017 Super Bowl to see their hero Tom Brady. Starring Academy Award nominee Lily Tomlin, Academy Award winner Jane Fonda, Academy Award winner Rita Moreno, and Academy Award winner Sally Field, along with 7-time Super Bowl champion and producer Tom Brady. 80 for Brady in theaters now. They're coming for you, Clark. Mike Richards coming up in hour 2. What do we got for time here? Clark didn't find that. From our director of scouting, Craig Smith, regarding the interview with McLeod Bethel-Thompson. He says, excellent comment on the transition from the American game to our Canadian game. Argos fan William Duncan writes in, he says, the Canadian game has humbled many a USA quarterback. Quick update of the poll today. Poll question for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. Which last minute of play in hour 1, which Western Conference team will be in the Stanley Cup final? The options we came up with were Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, or other. And so far, other is leading the way with 40% of the vote. I feel like I'm going to put it out here right now, and we'll kick this around with the Moose right after the next break. But I'm thinking of Vegas-Boston Stanley Cup final. I'm very excited to see Vegas live here in Florida Tuesday night. Jonathan Quick and the Vegas Golden Knights against a Florida Panthers team that's in the playoffs now. As Randy Moeller said in the press box the other night, they got to go 14-4 now in the remaining 18 games. Again, Mike Richards and the Moose coming up in hour 2. Stick around, everybody. Get your comments in now, please, on the 902 line. The number is right there. We'll be back after this brief pause on Game Plus and the Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersenshop.com.
She could be cool
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
I was at a table with referees. This is like a room full of accountants.
Spicy.
And they asked about Connor Bedard, and they laughed. And remember that night that I yelled in the bubble at Bob? Great call, Bobby! I yelled at the referee because he called a penalty shot in favor of the Regina Pats.
Well, it's an empty arena, so like your voice will just echo and echo and echo. Yeah, they heard you for sure. That was pretty funny.
Good call, Bobby!
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Hour 2 of your favorite daytime sports talk show, coming at you live on Game Plus TV. A variety of ways. iHeartRadio, YouTube, and WQEE, The Key, your southern home of sports and talk in Metro Atlanta. We do have the Moose right in Hour 2. Off the top. Is that the deal? Clark? Yeah, we got him? Okay. The Moose is here. I don't know where to go here. We're coming out of a hot weekend. Oh, speaking of hot, Darren. Nobody's going to want to hear this, believe me, but I've been checking the temperature there in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, and it is cold. Darren is straight back from the Canada Winter Games in PEI, Prince Edward Island, the beautiful Canadian Maritimes. What was the average Celsius temperature there, Moose, for the whole? You were there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, about -4, -5 would probably be the average. It was sunny some days. A lot of days got up to around 0. It was cold a couple of days with that coastal, windy, kind of damp cold, but it was fairly mild.
Okay, well, we ain't the Weather Network, but I'll tell you this. Here in South Florida, where I'm broadcasting from, for this final week, today is 31 degrees Celsius with the humidity. 29 with humidity, 31 degrees Celsius. That's plus. And for the American viewers, yeah, you know that's 89%. That's 89 Fahrenheit. That's hot. Loving it. But we're talking a lot of things. We're coming out of a weekend where we had the XFL Week 3, NFL Combine. I'm just going back to the quick six show topics from an hour ago. The Blue Jays going to honor Jose Bautista by putting his name up on the level of excellence. Obviously, they should. Second in all-time in home runs in Toronto, and single-season record 54. Wait a minute. Didn't Vladdy hit more? Clearly not, because I was reading the Wire copy there. And I'll also say this just about the curling and the Brier. Come on, people. You people. I had a viewer in Lethbridge text me and say, I feel the same way about curling. If you love curling, you're not watching now anyways. You're watching the morning draw. Where are they? London. You're not watching anyways. So my next thing I want to talk about is the 6 games in the NHL tonight. So just hold on to your bingo cards, everybody, because there's some big ones. San Jose Sharks at Winnipeg, Oilers at Buffalo, huge one there. Flames at Dallas. We're going to get to all of that. But did you see the furor last week where Stephen A. Smith, did we even talk about it? Stephen A. Smith on ESPN admitting he doesn't care anything about hockey. I feel like we talked about it a little bit. And he just got roasted for that. What are you roasting him for? It's ESPN. They don't care about hockey. It's not, like, I'm not going to sit here and talk about curling. I don't follow it. I don't dislike it. I got enough stuff to talk about. Were you upset that Stephen A. said he didn't care about it on ESPN, or like a lot of people were?
I wasn't, because I don't tune into Stephen A. Smith for my hockey news. I tune into the guys on Sportsnet or TSN, right? That's where I go. I go to Elliot Friedman and Darren Dreger and Jeff Merrick and, those guys. I don't go to Stephen A. Smith. And the thing is, when you try to be everything to everybody, you end up being nothing to nobody. So you have to pick your lane. You have to, and his lane is NBA and NFL. And he does talk about topical, cultural things that matter. But no, doesn't offend me one bit.
Okay, well, our lane is football and hockey. That's what we do. And we made that decision a year ago, and the ratings have gone up 300% because we're not trying to be everything to everybody. From time to time, we'll bring on a big curling guy or gal because they're friends of ours. I'm not anti-curling, but after coming out of this weekend where I almost died in the Atlantic Ocean having a panic attack, that's one thing. But then I wanted to watch the Jets and the Oilers. Man, I wasn't watching the Brier. So I guess my point is why it stuck in my craw was this guy wrote me on Twitter and said, where's your update on Team Botcher? Where's your update on this? I'm like, I don't have one, bro. I can't. I'm tapping out. I can't stay on top of everything. It's too much. I failed as a sports guy, I guess. Now, on to the things that we do care about. Number one, for the benefit of those that have just tuned in, our poll question today for Capital Automall Universal Collision Center is, which Western Conference team is going to represent who's going to be the Western rep in the Stanley Cup final? Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, or other. Was not an easy decision. We flirted with putting Edmonton in there. We flirted with putting Vegas in there, but we didn't. Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, or other. And running away with it on Twitter is other. And I think if you're the National Hockey League, and I saw it in the morning news release, how many teams are in contention? It's like well over 20 teams are in contention. I'm just like 27 teams, I think, are in or could be in a playoff spot right now. This is a dream for the National Hockey League.
It really is. It's unbelievable. That's what you want. Markets that care. And right now, if you're flirting with a playoff spot, you're not trying to sit there and tank and be upset that you're not getting a better draft choice, because it's going to be the bottom 3 or 4 teams only that are going to have a realistic shot at Connor Bedard. I mean, any of the missed playoff teams, sure, but you want a chance. Like, look what's happened in Ottawa. Like, that's incredibly fun for that fan base, and you engage them, and your digital channels go up. This is, you said it, it's a dream for the NHL.
It's an ugly world out there, Moose. You know, my colleague Rand, at the end of every Friday 12-step meeting that we have, when he says goodbye to everybody, he's like, take care out there, or be careful out there. It's an ugly world. You don't think somebody didn't time that Sports Business Journal article right in the middle of the All-Star week when they said NHL TV ratings are down 22%? It was just in America, it was just lighting a stink bomb in the middle of the NHL All-Star week. Some jerk did that. And it just ticks me off. Because it's been an amazing year for the National Hockey League, aside from Calgary Flames fans, which reminds me, let's say it again here, the odds or the percentages came out. I got it right up. First thing that came up on my phone from an analytics account on Twitter
the percentages of your team making the playoffs in the Pacific Division. The Vegas Golden Knights have a 98% chance. The LA Kings have a 95% chance. The Edmonton Oilers a 94% chance of making the playoffs. Seattle a 94% chance. Calgary a 25% chance. By the way, if this is accurate and not a fake account, because there's that too, but this seems accurate to me. The thing I don't like is teams with 0% chance of making the playoffs is Vancouver, San Jose, and Anaheim. But the fact is they're probably right on that. But with nobody having clinched yet in the National Hockey League, I don't know how you could say you have a 0% chance of making the playoffs, but maybe he's right. You know what I would like to see? Let's get some analytics on who's going to be leading the Bedard sweepstakes, because I haven't seen those yet. Have you?
The only thing I saw was the mock draft that TSN did for the number 1 overall pick, and they were very clear that it was a mock draft. And when they pulled the ping pong balls, Columbus ended up with the first overall pick. I kind of feel like that would be. I kind of feel like that would be fun to do on our show, to like do the lottery and have it done one day before the draft. And we could do that, but that's the closest I've seen in terms of the odds.
Ew. But I see Arizona. They're on a 4 or 5 game point streak right now. My God, Arizona, you can't do anything right. You can't even lose right.
I know.
Colin in Ottawa says Stephen A. Smith being honest about his lack of knowledge of hockey and not caring to learn is actually refreshing. Too many talking heads pretend to know about sports they know nothing about. Why do you think that I listen to games with the sound off? And a lot of times it's not purposely done. I turn the game on and there's no sound. I don't even think about it. The other night, what game was it, folks? It was the Oilers-Jets game. I believe Hockey Night in Canada. There was about a good 4 or 5 minute stretch of no play-by-play. I was like, it was like being in the arena. You could hear the cuts of the ice, the pucks off the glass. There was no play-by-play. And then they got it figured out.
Wow.
From Kevin the Medium, he says, my medium-sized prediction, the first overall pick goes to the Vancouver Canucks. Well, they better start losing more. They beat the Leafs the other day, which, by the way, Darren, can you speak for all Leafs fans if there is panic on the fact that they're sucking it right now since the trade deadline?
Don't panic on the results. If you're going to panic, I'd be panicking about these injuries. Didn't Matthews leave one game early, and O'Reilly's been seen with a splint on his finger? They're worried that it's broken and it could affect him. I'd be worried about that, not about a loss to the Vancouver Canucks right now. So you got lots of time to get everybody gelled together.
By the way, you say you rattled off all those insiders, and I get it. They're friends of ours. They've all been on this show, so I love them. But you say you go to them for hockey news. Did anybody, and I mean anybody, call Ryan O'Reilly going to the Leafs before they announced it on a Friday night? Did anybody say the Leafs are in talks with St. Louis for Ryan O'Reilly?
Not that I saw. There might have been rumors, but I didn't see it.
Try to keep your comments short if you can. I can't read a novel. Robin in Prince Albert says, the winner of the Stanley Cup will be the team with the best goal song, the Dallas Stars. You don't know that. But I will also say this. Look at these games on the weekend. Look at the results from last night. 1:11 Eastern, by the way. 11:11 Mountain, just pointing that out. Visualize. Beautiful. Visualize a positive outcome. Well, yeah, the scores from Sunday were fairly normal. What day was it? Oh, the Sabres spanking the Lightning 5-3. Right? Colorado getting spanked 7-3 by Dallas. Vancouver beating Toronto 4-1. Makes no sense. There was some weird scores. I go back to that Minnesota blanking the Flames the other night 3-0, and I swear the old me would have been sending texts, making calls to my Calgary guys saying what's going on there, and now I'm like, I don't even want to know. I can't even imagine how bad it is because, as you know, I was in Calgary last summer when they they lost Gaudreau and Tkachuk, and within a weekend, they make the trade to get Huberdeau and Mackenzie Weegar, and then they get Kadri. This should not have happened. And they don't, like, people say it's baffling. What happened? I swear somebody knows. Somebody knows. But I'm not going to poke around as to who or what it is. Like, for instance, when the general manager of the Edmonton Elks in the Canadian Football League stood at midfield, remember that? Brock Sunderland? When they were like 0-14 or whatever? And he's like, we don't know what the problem is. Dude, you just started the deadline clicking on yourself. Because if you don't know, nobody knows. It's the general manager's job to know. My guess is Brad Treliving knows where this all went wrong, but he can't do anything now.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. No, of course he would. Who else would know? The owners don't know. They're clueless. Every owner's clueless.
Yeah.
Who do you think would know? Or maybe you think nobody knows.
No, I think Brad Treliving would know. And I think on the outside, one thing you could look at is the identity of the team changed. The identity changed. Your identity was wrapped up in Gaudreau and Tkachuk, the scorer and the character. And the character in Tkachuk actually happened to be a scorer too. So you kind of lose that, and you bring in guys who maybe didn't fit that mold yet. That was the change. Talented in Kadri and Weegar and Huberdeau, but not the same. The identity of the Flames completely shifted.
Well, when that NHL scout, who, by the way, would know because he's won Stanley Cups, but when I sat with him in the Brand Center, we were talking about the Flames a couple of weeks ago when I was in Regina, and he goes, these things take time. Yeah, but how long? From training camp in September until February till now, shouldn't take that long. Now, you make a rash of trades at the trade deadline. Look at the teams. Toronto got more new players last week or in the last couple of weeks than the Flames did in the summer. And I'll give them, 15 games to get it together, not 6 months. Sorry. Jeff in Winnipeg says Calgary's going through what the Jets went through last season. All this talent and the wins aren't there. Yeah, and what'd you do? You changed coaches. Right? You just can't sit here. I get what you're saying. Wait, what are you going to do about it? Stacy in Access World headquarters says, I shudder to think of a world where the Maple Leafs are defending Stanley Cup champions. That doesn't really bother me at all. What bothers me is the Toronto Raptors won an NBA championship a few years ago and nobody ever talks about it because it's not the Leafs. That's insulting. There should be a statue of Kawhi Leonard in downtown Toronto. And there isn't because he's not a Leaf. So what do we got? Mike Richards next? Okay. All right. Moose, you're done. Go do whatever it is you do. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
All right. The often imitated, never duplicated. Raw Mike Richards. Oh, this should be. Joins us next from the saga. We're live on Game Plus Television, YouTube, iHeartRadio, your favorite podcast platform, and WQEE The Key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
Is it time to take your event online? Bring it to IKS Live. We've got a fully customized virtual event platform with remote guest support for your next fundraiser, talk show, conference, performance, and more. IKS Live offers live streaming to Facebook Live and YouTube and pre-recorded capabilities, both in our studio with green screen available and on location with pre-production and post-production services. Visit us at ikslive.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Laid back and kicking it, let's head back to the studio. Here's Rod.
It's been a gooder, and as usual, staying in our lanes. Football, hockey, football, that's what we do. XFL, NFL, we've been talking about that. Our next guest can talk about a variety of things, and lucky you, he's with us for 2 segments from Sauga 960 Mississauga, the inimitable Mike Richards. And hey, Mike, if you don't mind, we'll start here. The poll question today for Capital Auto Mall Universal Collision Center. I'll have you take a stab at it. Which Western Conference team will represent the West in the Stanley Cup Final? The options are Dallas, Vegas, Colorado, or other. What would you say as we sit here today?
Flames. No, sorry. I wish. It's going to take they're going to have to win like 15 in a row, and someone's going to have to lose a lot. It's so I'll go by. I'm really afraid of this, but I'm afraid it's going to be Vegas. I'm afraid it's going to be Vegas.
Why?
And so, well, you know, Jonathan Quick, he still has enough in that tank, and he's got the presence to take a team like that just when they needed that little thing to get them over the goal line. I have a bad feeling it's Vegas, which is sort of upsetting for anybody else who's cheered for your teams. I don't know, in this area since 1967, and all of a sudden they keep going back to finals. I would say that I just, you know, it seems incredible. They do what they do. I mean, they have coaches who have gaudy records that are fantastic in terms of win-loss, and they're like, you know what we got to do? Let's get a new coach. Let's fire this coach. Let's get a new guy in here. Like, they do stuff that is so different. And it seems to work. And for Jonathan Quick, you know, I can only imagine living in LA and then finding out, oh, by the way, you got to go to Columbus. Columbus? All right, said no one. So then he ends up and they say, no, just wait. Don't get in the plane. Don't get in the plane. Don't get in your van. Don't get in the station wagon with the kids. Just, you know, you're going to Vegas. And it seems to me that he's the type of guy. Look, either you have that lineage that says that you win when it counts, like when the money is down, and he is one of those guys with relative health, and that's always going to, you know, you got to keep that in mind. But I got a bad feeling for everybody else. It's going to be the Golden Knights. It's a bit of a bad dream, but I think it's going to happen.
It doesn't bother me one bit. Vegas is kind of my Western team. I move around, but let's get this out of the way first. For your legion, your millions of fans in Western Canada, and I don't say that jokingly, there are. What would you be saying on the radio in Calgary right now if the radio station was smart enough to have you on? What would you say?
Both good points. I really struggle with the fact that I'm very biased when it comes to almost anyone from the Sutter family. To be honest, I kind of love them all equally. And Daryl is close to me, and I think he is a superb hockey man. At the end of the day, if the guys that you invested in don't come through for you, it's like having a great investment and you seemingly bought the house at the right time. It seemed like the property values were going up, and for whatever reason, it doesn't. Huberdeau has not been the guy. They have not got the goaltender they wanted, and I don't know if they can get out of this thing. And I think, unfortunately, when you get into the competitive stages that you're seeing in the NHL right now, there's very few games off. There's very few weak teams, and yeah, I get it. You can play a Columbus and Anaheim and Chicago, but it doesn't last very long. And then that upper echelon, just take a look at the Atlantic. Like, you just really don't have a lot of leeway if things aren't going the way you want. I don't know what they're going to do. I'm a little afraid in the offseason because I just don't see right now how in God's name that they turn this around, because someone's got to fall from grace. So unless you think the Kings, Golden Knights, is it Edmonton, is it the Kraken? And I don't think it's going to be any of those. I don't think it's going to be their year. So that's a real hard look in the mirror. And I'll tell you, there are teams that fan bases are probably feeling the same way. And I'll jump a huge one and go right in the NFL. And if you're a Buffalo Bills fan, you're probably going through the same thing. You're trying to figure out with what you had on the field, what you expected to have happen. You looked at the coaching staff, you looked at your quarterback, you looked at all these things that you had, and something, now in their case, the line in the sand, the moment Von Miller goes down, it almost seeped into every aspect of what they do. And their fan base is looking at it. Now, I'm going to talk about coaching a little bit, and I would probably say play calling is a big part of that. But when you're a fan base that had so much promise, and Kadri was the right thing to do, there was just so many things that happened within Calgary that were the right thing. But that doesn't mean that necessarily it's just the coach you fire that tends to be the answer. I don't think that's the answer. I think that would be a huge mistake. I think it's a good group, but I think that and unless the guys you paid show up to do what they intended to do, you're helpless. And right now, if you're a Flames fan, it probably feels that way.
For the football fans that have tuned in, by the way, next segment, Mike and I will get into a little CFL, XFL, NFL, but it's hockey for now. And I got to ask you this. Let's have just a little more fun than the usual stick and puck X's and O's. On the rights holder radio station of the Calgary Flames, Mike, were you ever coerced or knuckles wrapped because you were on the...
No.
Not one time?
No, never. No. Like, look, there's a couple of things that people would say. So, are you kidding? Richards, he was a bloody cheerleader. I mean, I just can't believe he, and I'll be honest. The thing that is most misunderstood about sports radio is its function. It's not that you're supposed to look. There are shifts, there are day parts where if you want to get into the minutia, if you want to talk about cycling and what they do on special teams and all the other things that go into it, all the details that go into being an NHL team, there are shifts for that. There are hours of that. That's not what a morning show does. That's what a morning show isn't supposed to. I'm supposed to call someone or bring the coach on who will explain those moves. I bring the general manager on. I can bring on one of the players. This is what hosting a morning show does. I'm hard pressed to think that going to work for a job that you hate, for a boss who sucks, for you getting yelled at every day and maybe not getting the money that's worth it to you. Maybe you have a hard day where you're outside every day. Hey, there's a lot of people in Western Canada that listen to that show that weren't just from Calgary. They were also from Saskatchewan. When these guys would be out working the fields and so on. They wanted to get some laughs in with a little bit of the sports. So what you want to do is be an entertaining guy, and hopefully you have the chops to actually do that. And then on the other side, you call someone who can explain all those things better than I can, better than any probably morning guy can, because there's a reason why they're a morning guy, because they were probably, for the most part, in broadcast and maybe not a great athlete. Look, my background is weird. It's different. I played at a very high level of sports, but I also started doing stand-up when I was in grade 12. Freak and weird. I was a goalie and a drummer all the weird stuff that goes into this brain where I hear the voices. You know, I'm sitting there looking at a football game. All of a sudden, I hear Peyton Manning going, you know, what he should have done. What he should have done was you got to pull that back. You got to make them read into when you're going to play action pass. You don't just run with it, dummy. That's not RPO. This is what goes on in this head. This is what I have going on. Bob Cole,
I get it.
All kinds of stuff is going on there.
I don't even think it's weird. But that's why I think we always got along. And I'll be honest, when I was the voice of the Riders forever, and I'm stunned when I talk to broadcasters when I say, were you ever told what to say? And they're like, no. One of those is Mark Steven in Calgary. I'm like, what? The voice of the Stampeders. I've never been influenced on what to say. Similar to what you're saying. But for me, I was down here doing a camp with the Rough Riders, and they're like, I won't even say who the regime was, but they gave me a list. Say this, this, and this. Don't say this, this, and this. And I'm like, here's your freaking headset, bro. I don't want to do this if I can't. So that's one thing. And then the other, when I was doing the Riders and you were doing morning in Calgary, I would go to Western Saskatchewan, Shaunavon, Swift Current, Kindersley, Rosetown, all those places. And they'd go, Mike Richards said this. Mike Richards said that. And I'm like, what are you listening to that asshole for? We're in Saskatchewan. This is before I knew you. This probably wouldn't surprise you.
No, it wouldn't. But and it's look, Western Canada, as it, you know, is its own universe, and God bless each and every one of them. You know, it's something that is really hard for me out here missing that, because look, they tell you how it is. I did a parody song of when John Denver died, and it was to the tune of Elton John when he sang for Lady Di, you know, the Candle in the Wind. And I had all kinds of planes.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had all kinds of plane sound effects, gagging as the plane was crashing all over the place. So I showed up at this one event, and this family was so upset with me because they were very upset about this song. They're like, you're like stirred, you're just laughing, and you had explosions in John Denver. And I was like, you know what? They're going to tell you, even as insane as that, they're going to tell you how it is. I mean, people would get upset about certain. One person was mad. They said, why do you always phone Mika Kiprusoff on a game day when he's mad at you? Me doing the Mika Kiprusoff bit, and obviously I was Mika Kiprusoff. I really didn't phone him. That really wasn't him talking about eating baboon brains or chipmunk knuckles or whatever was going on in my head on that day. It's like, you shouldn't do that. You're upsetting him on the game days. But God bless them for doing it. They're honest people, and I do miss them every single day. I do.
Don't listen then, guys. There's that. Back on track, if we were ever on track. And by the way, Ryan O'Radio is listening from WQEE, where he's carrying us on beautiful Noonan, Georgia, where I owe him lunch because his Braves beat the Blue Jays last week. But he says, Mike knows. Yes, we know he knows. Absolutely. Ryan knows. But before we switch to hockey next segment, the Leafs, we have about 3 minutes. The Leafs post-trade deadline. What are we thinking there?
Okay, well, they certainly got some areas, like when you talk about Ryan O'Reilly, that was a good pickup. Achari, good pickup. You looked at on the blue line where they needed some depth because they're just incredibly thin and really don't have, at least to my mind, in this league, a number 1 and 2, a true 1-2 on the back end. So it kind of got a little bit better, but at the end of the day, the group that they have stuck with for 7 years is the group that's going into this thing headfirst into Tampa Bay. So either at some point in the most stubborn of ownerships I've ever seen, that just allows things to go on for 5, 6, 7 years when you don't get by, are going right back into this thing with some goaltending that at times has been kind of okay. You know, it hasn't been great. And there isn't one guy. You could have Samsonov, you could have Wall, you could have Matt Murray coming back, who just, you know, he's not an overly healthy guy. So at the end of the day, as much as you want to spin it and say they won the trades or they did great trades, you know, they did kind of some stuff, but you've got a Tampa Bay team that has the pedigree that when they turn on that playoff switch, that's what they got. So if you think your guys can go out there and go head to head, and I'm not saying that they can't, but at some point you meet Boston. And when anyone meets Boston this year, it's probably not a tea party. It's a bad party. And you are not in the level of, maybe a lot this year aren't. But you see the moves that Boston made. Bertuzzi goes over there. For some reason, Boston is just better at everybody else with the business of hockey. They're better at signing players for the right amounts of money. They're better for term, and they get guys who fit. When Bertuzzi goes in there, was there anyone in the world who said, well, that sounds like a terrible move? No, everybody said the same thing. Yeah, he's a Bruin. He's a Bruin. And that's what they do better than everybody else. So, look, as much as I didn't think there was one team necessarily at the beginning of the year that is better than everyone else and it's theirs to lose, well, welcome to 2023 because that's where the Boston Bruins are. And barring some – look, even their goalies are scoring. Their goalies are scoring goals. So when you have that, I think you pretty much have everything going for you. I'll be shocked if they don't win it all. I don't know.
I can't even tell who's number one goalie there because they're both playing so well. Ted in Red Deer says, Mike and Rod, folks, it doesn't get any better than this. Let it rip, boys. And Ted says, we miss you too, Mike. Kevin in Airdrie says, I used to laugh so hard when he did the Kipper skits. So there's that. We'll be right back, and we will talk ball for all. If you want to get your comments in, 902-518-3033, the number to reach us here. YouTube as well, or on social media. We'll be right back. We're live on Game Plus TV, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and your southern home of sports and talk, WQEE, the key.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpetersonshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpetersonshop.com.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. Take advantage of up to $7,000 in discounts on all remaining new 2022 F-150s. And rates are as low as 1.99% OAC. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital Ford Lincoln. CapitalFordLincoln.com.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Rough Riders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the beat. Gotta hit the
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of The Rod Pedersen Show.
Back on, and just ahead of more with Mike Richards from the 902 text line. If you want to know why we talk about as much hockey on the RP show as we do, it's because it is a Canadian show. It moves the needle. Hockey, it slaps, as they say now. Ron in Calgary says the Flames should be playing Dustin Wolf and experimenting with new lines. We're in next year mode. Steven in North Dakota, will the more physical team win the Stanley Cup? No, the team that scores more goals will. That's my fearless prediction. From Josh in Prince Albert, he says, Connor Bedard will be a Detroit Red Wing next year. From Devin in Burns Lake, BC, good morning. This weekend was a banger with the Jets and Oilers, reigniting those old Smythe feelings. The Jets will find a way to rep the West. Have a good one, Rod. So we'll go back to hockey next segment. I want to do football now because Mike is a football guy. I don't know if he's football first or not. Whatever. I won't even ask you that. Your Peyton Manning impersonation, is that new to the arsenal, or have you long had Peyton Manning up your sleeve?
No, well, it kind of started in Calgary a little bit, but I didn't really. It wasn't one of the ones that were the regulars. And then when it got to TSN, we were talking to a guy from Fox who had just talked to Peyton.
And so I said, well, was he saying things like, the first thing y'all got to think about when you get your guys together?
He's like, okay, that's really weird. Because, and so it got worse. Then I had him rapping. Then I would take out, on press conferences because I like playing around with sounds. Like when he left Indy, and I started doing stuff like that. So it ended up being like one of my favorites, and one of the guys that we did do a lot. Yeah, it became popular, very popular. Yeah,
that's very good. Omaha. So I don't know where to start. The breaking news today is Derek Carr is a New Orleans Saint. I mean, it never stops down here, as you know, Mike. It does not stop.
Well, I thought that, the Jets in kicking his tires, it wouldn't be necessarily a bad decision. And if they really want to go after the freak boy, Aaron Rodgers, in his Walt Disney stupid ass water tank in a cave in Oregon or whatever wacko.
Mike, don't bully him.
Doing. Please. I cannot. I mean, but if they really want to go after him at that age and pay that money, go ahead, like knock yourself out. But you should have done it like quicker. You should have been on it now, because I think they might have missed the boat a little bit, because I think Derek Carr can't play. But look, the bottom line is, and by the way, the McLeod Bethel-Thompson interview was awesome. Look, the CFL guys are always going to be close to my heart, and he is a representative of guys that it doesn't always work out for them. Like, it's not always easy. If you look at what he has done for himself, so he goes to UCLA, he plays a smattering of games. He plays this, like, he gets into one of the bowl games and gets lit up by BYU or whatever. And then he goes to Sacramento State, like a much smaller school, and tries to work it out. Then he goes to all these camps. He goes to almost any league that will take him, and he's still doing it. He's still trying to find his way. And this is why, when CFL fans get all upset, they get their nuts in a knot over, hey, he's going down to the USFL and the XFL. They're not competitive leagues. At this very moment, they're not competitive leagues. And that's why the Dallas Cowboys aren't worried that someone's going to give up their magical Jerry Jones tickets because they want to go to the Arlington, Smart Shoppers? What are they called? The Arlington?
I don't even know what they are.
Pickpockets?
No.
I don't know what they are. It's exposure, people. So when you look at leagues like, for instance, here in Canada, where you have the Canadian Elite Basketball League, the CEBL, as I've said to our good friend Mike Morreale and Jason Tom, who do endless work for that league, your currency is exposure. Your currency is exposure. So guys who got hurt, guys who didn't get a full, a full look that they wanted, then maybe the coach didn't get, the transfer portal has changed things so greatly that sometimes you move around so much, you don't get a great look, and maybe you made a bad decision. Maybe you got hurt at the wrong time. Maybe you went to a coaching staff that didn't believe in you. This is a little bit of an area that gives you a second chance, which I like, a little bit of redemption, which is not a bad thing. So that's what the USFL is, and CBL. Before the league started, there were 8 NBA contracts that some of these guys signed. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to stay with the NBA all the time, but the growth and the ability of guys to find their way is a good thing. And sometimes for CFL fans, it's maybe back to the CFL, or maybe our guys see a guy in the XFL or the USFL that might be a fit. Maybe he's a quarterback for somebody in, I don't know, Regina, someone in Montreal, in Edmonton, BC, whatever it happens to be. I am for those guys finding their way. That's a good story. We should be behind this.
Yeah.
They're not competing. The USFL is not competing against everybody. It's look, I'm not going to insult it by calling it a controlled scrimmage, but what I'm saying is it's a group of guys who are looking for something else. You put a uniform and a helmet on. They're in some local town where if you want to see some football, if you're a football guy like me, I will stop and watch on the side of the road a high school football practice. I will sit on the hood of my car, or I just saw that F-150, my favorite vehicle of all time. If you want to get a great vehicle, it's an F-150. And I will sit on that vehicle, and I'll sit there and I'll watch. And occasionally, the coach will come over and say, "Can I help you?" And I usually, say something like, "Do you want to come on the sidelines for a little bit? Do you want to blow a whistle? And it happens because that's a football thing."
There's a lot of
Rod.
people like you that will watch anything. Allie in Texarkana says it's the Arlington Argonauts. She's just throwing that out there.
Very good. I've been to Texarkana too. I like that, man.
Ryan in Saratoga, New York says, I've been saying the same thing. When football players sign with indoor leagues, they're just looking for an opportunity. And yet, fans turn their nose up at those leagues. But who cares? That's the thing why I applauded McLeod Bethel-Thompson, Macbeth, when he was on with us, because I'm like, people are like, hey, you're going to Florida. What are you doing? How are you doing it? I'm none of your business. I'm going to try it.
And a big part,
and
a big part of that, which we tend to not associate with athletes for some reason, is they do have lives, they do have families, and some of them actually want to be good dads. And when you're that far away from your family for a long, extended period of time, and I can speak to that. When I was in Calgary, I spent, 4.5 years away from my family. You're trying to make a living, you're trying to make your way. And, when things come up, people say, well, why would you go back to Toronto? Well, a big part of it was, I had some aging parents and I had some, family things. And if I could have made everything work, I would have stayed in Calgary. But TSN comes calling. You got a whole bucket load of money and it puts your family all together, including my son. So that was a real tough position to be in. But I am telling you that there is a major part of life that isn't just, doing this or banging your head against someone else with a helmet on. Sometimes family counts and it matters.
Yeah. Hey, well, let me ask you this in the 2 to 3 minutes we have left. How much will the loss of McLeod Bethel-Thompson mean to the Toronto Argonauts, both on the field and in the market, in your opinion?
Well, in off the field, zero. It won't mean anything. I'm sure I could wear one of those jerseys in downtown Toronto, Yonge and Dundas, and they would not know what that is. It's just, sadly, that is the market that is Toronto. It is not a football market. You're going to wear a Josh Allen jersey or Stephon Diggs jersey, quite frankly, before you're going to wear anything that is anything Argo related, which is very painful to say, but it's God's honest truth. It's why it's called Raw Mike Richards. The other thing, on field, Chad did a real good job. Chad's got a real chance to do something. There are some quarterbacks in this league that I think this year you're going to see, I think Schultz and Hamilton, as much as they do have Bo Levi Mitchell, don't be surprised if you see Schultz get that ball a little bit. I don't think they necessarily change or lose a whole bunch. Now, that's not to belittle or make light of what Macbeth did. But what I'm saying is that team functions on a lot of different levels, and their defense is a huge part of that. Guys like Mwamba, the guys that play with this heart, it's a very much a, as they like to say, let's all row together. That is the slogan of the team. So I don't think it's like, for instance, if you had, if Zach left the Bombers, now you got a problem. There are certain guys that are very difficult to replace. And quite frankly, in Toronto, I have not seen that since Condredge Holloway. I don't know the last time I would see where a quarterback meant a lot. Doug Flutie. Yeah, but it's not this, and that's why I think if you're Macbeth, you're going to do what's best for your family. You're going to try to. He still has a goal of playing the NFL, so God bless him. You did everything you could up here. Go for it, son. Go for it.
Yeah, I applaud it big time, and I applaud you, Mike. Thanks for coming on, sir. We get to know you more every time, and we keep bringing you back.
Can I stay with you sometime in Florida? Like I've got some phone numbers I could call.
It's getting to be a long list of people that would like to do that. Absolutely. Come on down. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, brother.
Raw Mike Richards, Saga 960 in Mississauga. We'll be right back with Overtime, which includes a sports update and viewer takeover. We're live on Game Plus, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and WQEE The Key.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
It's time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. Great news, factory credits are back. That means massive savings on every new vehicle. We have over 100 GMC Sierras available, and they're all priced to move. Looking for a used vehicle? You gotta check out our all makes, all models, GM certified pre-owned inventory. Plus, don't pay for 90 days on all new and used vehicles. There's never been a better time to trade and upgrade at Capital GMC. CapitalGMC.ca.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
I gotta hit the beat.
Download Dark Horse Bets today.
I gotta hit the beat.
The SJHL raffle is underway with your chance to win a brand new Polaris side-by-side, courtesy the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League. Tickets are available now until April 23rd, with the draw taking place live on SJHL Insiders April 27th. 1 for $25, 3 for $60, or 10 for $100. But there are only 5,000 tickets available. Get yours today at sjhlraffle.ca.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, this is the studio last week in South Florida, and then next week at Grey Eagle Resort and Casino in beautiful Calgary, Alberta.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
We were hoping for a Flames Stanley Cup run. Yeah. Some analytics company put out the percentages today of what each team in the Pacific Division's percentage chances are of getting into the playoffs. For the Calgary Flames, it's 25%. Unbelievable. By the way, if you want to talk to me, now's the time. 7 minutes are left. 902-518-3033. And by the way, I just got a message from a nice gentleman. He says, a great event I think you would enjoy starting tomorrow, the ACC basketball tournament. University of North Carolina men's team hosting. Oh, boy. See? They can't get enough sports down here, which is fantastic. I love it. Oh, and by the way, write me now or I'll sit here and read sports until the end of the show. Because I could do that. 902-518-3033. Let me call up the 902 text line just to get ready for y'all. That includes you, Allie. Ron in Calgary, by the way, says, I miss Mike. Richard's in Calgary, but hugely respect decisions for family first. Yeah, all good things come to an end. That's the one thing. And the second you accept it, the easier life gets. On this Monday, former Raiders quarterback Derek Carr has agreed to a 4-year contract with the NFL's New Orleans Saints. Carr played 9 seasons for the Raiders and holds club records for passing yards, touchdown passes, but he never won a playoff game. And after struggling late last season, Carr was benched with 2 games to go. He turns 32 on March 28th. He was released by the Raiders on February 14th after he declined to waive the no-trade clause in his contract. How about that? Released on Valentine's Day. That's not very nice. Las Vegas needed to trade or release him by that date, or $40.4 million of his contract over the next 2 years would have become fully guaranteed. And that's the other thing. The clip where Jim Lang and I were talking about Derek Carr, where I said a former coach of his told me to my face that Derek Carr is uncoachable and went on to explain why. That clip of us talking about it's been viewed now close to 20,000 times. It's got the highest ratings we've had in the new year. NFL slap in America. In Canada, it's the NHL. You got to go where the numbers are. When the things pick up in the CFL, we'll be there too. Meanwhile, I should say, New Orleans Saints coach Dennis Allen was the Raiders coach when they selected Carr in the second round of the 2014 draft out of Fresno State. So that's the connection. Meanwhile, Placeline, East Rutherford, New Jersey. The New York Giants have hired a new running backs coach and added 3 other staff, including the son of Coach Brian Daboll as an offensive assistant. The Giants, who made the playoffs for the first time since 2016, announced today that Jeff Nixon was hired as the running backs coach and Chris Smith will take over as the assistant offensive line coach. I'm getting to a point here. Stick with me. Nixon replaces DeAndre Smith, and Smith takes over for Tony Sperano Jr. Both went to Indianapolis to serve on the staff there. Brian Daboll's son, Christian, was a student coach the past 4 seasons, the last 3 at Penn State. Coaching for free. Now he's in the National Football League. There's guys I know have been chopping wood for 35 years in the Canadian University pro ranks that will never have a shot like this. And I was talking to football guys when I was back in the sweatpants capital, and I said, what is with the movement? And they said, well, it's always been like that. I'm like, no, it has not always been like this. Let's not forget, I spent 20 years with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and we had the same assistant, like Alex Smith, our linebacker, or our special teams coach, and at times linebackers coach, was with us for 15 of those years. Our D-line coach, Ron Estee, 7, 8 years or longer. They didn't always move around like this. And it was Chris Jones that said, the days of, now, let's quote Chris Jones, the days of guys standing in one place are over. And I don't know why that is. Lack of, and that's with players too, and coach. From Ryan O'Radio. Another great show, RP and crew. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Thanks for allowing us the opportunity to entertain your wonderful listeners on a daily basis on WQEE. Randy in Winnipeg says, any thoughts on the possibility of no Capitals or Penguins in the playoffs? I'm all for it because I have a bet with a Capitals fan by the name of Jeff, and it's a pizza, that the Panthers get in and the Capitals don't. Would the little change not be nice? I'd like to see some new teams in the playoff. From BW says, Rod, have you been to any spring college football practice games, or is that later in the year? Some are going on, but no, I'm not. Did you not? You weren't watching at the start of the year. I'm busy almost killing myself in the Atlantic Ocean, having a panic attack, jumping off a pontoon boat. Last minute of play in the RP show. Oh, Allie in Texarkana says, great show today. Ready to see how my Stars do tonight. Have a great day, y'all. The Dallas Stars have the Calgary Flames in town, and I never even got into these games. Nashville, Vancouver, Washington at the LA Kings, Ottawa, Chicago. Wouldn't it be something if the Sens got in? This is a run similar to 2015, where the Sens went like 16-4 in their last 20 games to make the playoffs. Thank you, Ryan, in Saratoga, New York, for your kind words. And officially, Ryan O'Reilly added to the long-term injured reserve with broken finger. Sorry, Clark. We'll do it all over again tomorrow. Noon Eastern on WQEE and Game Plus.
Who has more fun than us?